You are watching Nimasa This Week, the authorized voice for the maritime sector. Hello and welcome. My name is Iretiola Doyle. Not too long ago, Nimasa gathered together the creme de la creme of both the public and private sectors to witness the groundbreaking ceremonies of Nimasa's shipyard and dockyard, as well as the Nigerian Maritime University in Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State. The commissioning ceremonies were performed by Mr. President himself, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. The people of Gbaramatu Kingdom trooped out en masse to welcome Mr. President in a show of appreciation for the many federal government projects going on within their domain. Our senior correspondent, Amanda Akpan, who was present at Okerinkoku, files in this report.
Staff of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Nimasa, visitors from all parts of the country, stakeholders in the maritime sector, traditional rulers, as well as members of the international community got set to go on board different boats and ships from the Warri jetty that will be conveying them to the permanent site of the Nigerian Maritime University and the Nimasa Ship and Dockyard in Okerinkoku, Gbaramatu Kingdom of Delta State, Nigeria, to witness the groundbreaking and flag of ceremony of the university and Nimasa Ship and Dockyard by His Excellency the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR. Upon arrival at Okerinkoku, the women of Gbaramatu Kingdom showcased warmth by welcoming the visitors with their stunning dance steps and traditional music. The helicopter of the Nigerian Air Force conveying the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria finally touched down on the soil of Okerinkoku. The President was accompanied by the Minister of Transport, Senator Idris Umar, Governor of Delta State Emmanuel Duhan, Willie Obianu, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, and the Director General of Nimasa, Ziakede Patrick Akobulakaimi, amongst other members of his entourage, who were warmly received by the traditional rulers of the Gbaramatu Kingdom. The President then took to the podium to perform the main mission for the day, which is the groundbreaking ceremony for the Maritime University and the Nimasa Ship and Dockyard.
Performed by me today, Saturday, May 10, 2014. Congratulations.
He then moved on to commission 3 of the Nimasa boats, built for the use of security services by Nimasa.
Today we are quite pleased to be a part of this great achievement that we are commissioning 3 of these boats for the use by Nimasa and the security services in partnership with Global West Vessel Specialist Limited to ensure security of our waters and protection of our coastal assets. So we are commissioning this to the glory of God for use of Nigerians to protect our country, and we are doing this to the honor and glory of the Almighty God.
Before Mr. President's visit to Okerinkoku, he had earlier been at the reception venue in Okoroza, where he was received by the people of Gbaramatu Kingdom.
The Ministry of Transport thank the Minister, the Permanent Secretary, and other management staff of the Ministry, and the Chairman of the Board of Nimasa, the DG, and all their team for bringing us today. So maritime business is a lucrative business, and as a nation, we have also signed the Nigerian Content Law. And Nigerian Content Law, linking up with the Capital Law, is meant to really improve the Nigerian business community, to encourage Nigerians to make money out of the maritime business and the oil business. But with the establishment of this maritime university here, because the issue of manpower is key. And we believe that this is a good thing to help significantly in terms of producing the required manpower for this blue economy.
The government and the people of Delta State were full of appreciation to the government at the Center for Siting Enduring Projects such as the Nimasa Shipyard and Dockyard and the Nigerian Maritime University in their domain. Leading the people of the Gbaramatu Kingdom to say thank you to Mr. President was Emmanuel Udwa, the Executive Governor of Delta State.
I want to thank you, Mr. President, because today we are starting a movement in Warri Southwest that will make it the most educated, the most industrialized, and the most empowered local government in Nigeria. With all the projects that are coming up in this local government, the sky is the limit.
At Kurutie, the story was the same when President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan visited the community to flag off activities at the temporary site of the Nigerian Maritime University. The people sang, danced and rejoiced. Their joy knew no bound because of the colossal development taking place in their domain. The Nigerian Maritime University and Shipyard and Dockyard are two of the major projects conceived by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, under the auspices of the Ministry of Transport to move the maritime sector forward in line with the statutory responsibilities of the agency. The Minister of Transport here explains the reasons for citing this project in the Niger Delta.
The reasons for the siting of these projects in these communities are based on the natural endowments of the areas, such as affinity and proximity to the shipping routes, the volume of shipping activities, and the high hydrocarbon reserves, which has attracted large economic activities.
Nimasa decided to establish this project because of its resolve to provide the necessary pillars needed for the rapid transformation of the Nigerian maritime sector. The Director General of Nimasa, Ziakede Patrick Akwubule-Kaimi, sounded this loud and clear during the visit of Mr. President to the Gbaramatu Kingdom.
Mr. President, sir, ladies and gentlemen, today's ceremonies bring special feelings for all of us in Nimasa and those that have supported and encouraged us in this way. This is for the simple sense that they symbolize progress in the journey we have embarked upon to build the critical infrastructure required for the sustainable development of the Nigerian maritime sector. We are totally committed and determined to achieve these goals with the conviction that they are mainly what it takes to engineer the growth of the sector. We are therefore pursuing these goals rigorously with total resolve and drawing inspiration from Mr. President's patriotic vision and pragmatic efforts towards national transformation that will see to Nigeria's leap into the league of leading economies of the world.
At the end of the presidential visit by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the women of the Gbaramatu Kingdom couldn't help but express their joy to have the president on their soil.
I want to thank God for what He has done for us because it was a great opportunity for the president to be in our place, in our community. I am very happy that in our first time in this history of Gbaramatu Kingdom, receiving our president, Mr. Dr. Goodluck Jonathan Ebele, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are very, very happy. Indeed, we are thankful to God. We are also happy for this university that has been brought to this land, to this Gbaramatu Kingdom. We know that this will bring more things to our kingdom.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, believes in the effectiveness of the Public-Private Partnership Initiative. In line with this resolve, the agency, in collaboration with the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, recently organized a one-day workshop on public-private partnership strategy for infrastructural development and modernization within the maritime sector. Now, this workshop attracted economic consultants as well as maritime experts from both within and outside our nation. Our senior correspondent, Chukwu Diogana, was present at that event and filed in this report.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, is determined to promote private sector partnership in carrying out projects in the nation's maritime sector. Part of efforts in this direction was the one-day national workshop on public-private partnership PPP strategy for infrastructural development and modernization in the Nigerian maritime sector. The program, which was organized by Nimasa in collaboration with the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission (ICRC), attracted players in Nigeria's maritime sector as well as foreign maritime experts who are interested in investing in the industry. The workshop's objectives included the critical examination of the issues of infrastructural deficit in the country's maritime sector, sharing of ideas on how to pursue the PPP objective in the sector and to convert the country's maritime environment into one that generates revenue for the country. Nimasa is bent on involving the private sector in developing infrastructure for the maritime sector because it considers projects in the maritime sector as needing much capital which the private sector can easily make available. During the workshop, the Director General of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Akpobolokemi, in his keynote address, stated that the agency planned that the private sector would be involved in the running of the Nigerian Maritime University and the shipyard and dockyard, both in Warri, Delta State.
We need the private sector to come in. Even the university we are building or we want to start academic activities. We want to propose to government to run it with the private people, because it is one thing to establish an institution, it's another thing to sustain it. And we believe that the private people are better in managing certain things than those of us in government. Not because those of us in government do not know what to do, but there are so many things to be, so many laws, there's so much bureaucracy, etc. The zeal and the expertise the private people bring to bear in business is always wonderful. So in our university, it's going to go this way, public-private partnership.
To achieve the purpose for which the program was meant, other notable maritime experts spoke on the challenges in the country's maritime sector and how to tackle them. Professor Pat Utomi of the Center for Values and Leadership spoke on the topic, the transformation agenda and the imperative of developing the Nigerian maritime shipping trade potential.
Public-private partnership is a critical way of achieving the goals of the transformation agenda of the government. In this particular case, the levels or steps you can take in looking at this. First, there is national strategy, which in some ways is summed up by the agenda, transformation agenda. Nimasa on its own, to key effectively in, has created its own 4-point agenda.
That the country's maritime industry is one that has the potential of creating jobs for the country's citizens is a fact that cannot be denied. Another speaker, Dr. Chris Asoluka, explains it better.
PPP is an arrangement that injects fresh ideas as well as funding if you secure the buy-in. And if it works, then it means that you are creating jobs. You are transferring technology, you are empowering the people, and we are stressing on the maritime because it is the artery of economic growth.
There was a general agreement among maritime stakeholders at the event that services rendered by government will be better managed under the private sector for efficiency.
The PPP arrangement is inevitable. Shipping or maritime activities are capital intensive. The government does not really play roles in maritime or shipping unless they have a national fleet which they own. Therefore, government is a regulating body creating the environment for ship owners and maritime operators to operate.
The idea of leaving the business to business people is that they are able to do it much better than bureaucracy will allow the public sector to do. That is where you now bring in the efficiency of the private sector with the ownership structure of the government and the power of the government. By the time you put the two together, you're able to get a synergy that makes things go faster.
In an interview with Nimasa this week, the chairman board of directors of the Nigeria-Canada Forum, Pierre Kadir, described the country's maritime sector as a lucrative one.
This, I think, sets the table quite well for conversations that we must have not only with our private sector partners here, but with the government. And to the government we say, we want to partner with you, and the only advice we would have is for the Nigerian government to look at various partners and diversify your risk when you have foreign partners as investors. Don't put all your eggs in one investment partner.
Nimasa's Executive Director of Maritime Labour and Cabotage Services, Barrister Callistus Nwabweze Obi, explained that behind the enactment of the Cabotage Act was the desire of the federal government to involve indigenous ship owners in moving Nigeria's maritime sector forward.
The idea of this forum is to further engage the stakeholders so that we can look at what we have on ground, what we are doing now, and see how we can improve on it. If there are gaps, we'll try and fill them. If there are shortfalls, we'll find a way to meet not only our expectation as the regulatory agency, but also the expectation of the stakeholders, particularly the operators, the local operators, those who have invested their money in the sector.
Executive Director of the agency's Maritime Safety and Shipping Development, Captain Ezekiel Bala Agaba, talked about the workshop's benefits to stakeholders.
The workshop is actually to enlighten the public on what PPP does, the advantages and the disadvantages. As you are aware, Nimasa is involved in the PPP Global West in provision of platforms, that is vessels for our job. So we are trying to tell the people what we've gained from the process and how we feel it is a good way to go when it comes to having a platform for our operations because of the financing outlay involved in providing access for our job.
Since the appointment of Mr. Zakede Patrick Akpobolokemi as the Director General of Nimasa, the agency has unrelentingly pursued the transformation of Nigeria's maritime industry with vigor.
The Nigerian Shippers Council was recently appointed the Ports Economic Regulator. The council is saddled with the responsibility of transforming the ports from their current state to a higher level of productivity and performance. The ports are expected to be cost-effective, competitive, and attractive to all users. The Port Economic Regulator's mandate also includes the achievement of the 48-hour cargo clearance at the ports. Last week, the Council organized a one-day discourse with stakeholders within the industry to help identify some of the challenges as well as proffer solutions that will enhance the optimum achievement of its set agenda.
Shipping is a global business and a very substantial one for a nation like Nigeria, with considerable import and export trade. In order to maximize the benefits of shipping business, the federal government had embarked on considerable developments of ports and associated maritime services, along with radical reform in the maritime sector. One of the most common standards in port operation is the 48 hours cargo clearance. Issues of delays in cargo clearance at the ports is on the front burner of the agenda at most international organizations as the IMO, International Maritime Organization, World Customs Union, WCU, World Trade Organization, WTO, amongst others. Recently, the Nigerian Shippers Council was appointed as Port Economic Regulator. This appointment comes with so much hope for the shipping industry stakeholders, as they believe the regulator will change the situation at the ports and will help boost trade facilitation. Saddled with the responsibility of monitoring and enforcing standard of service delivery, ensure stability, accessibility and adequacy of the service, and also provision of guidelines on tariffs by setting minimum and maximum levels in order to guard against arbitrariness. The Nigerian Shippers Council (NSC) saw the need to relate with the industry stakeholders to see how they can work together to achieve a common goal. A one-day national discourse was held at the Rockview Hotel in Apapa, Lagos recently on the attainment of the 48 hours cargo clearance target in the Nigerian ports by the Nigerian Shippers Council, and also to commission the Nigerian Customs Service Direct Trader Input Facility in the council. The meeting had in attendance the Chairman, Governing Board of the Nigerian Shippers Council, board members of the Nigerian Shippers Council, representative of the Minister of Transport, sister agencies of the Nigerian Shippers Council, stakeholders in the shipping industry, and distinguished guests. As stakeholders in the shipping industry deliberated and preferred lasting solutions to the various challenges of cargo clearance in the ports, Lieutenant General Salihu Ibrahim, retired, spoke to us on the need for the council to discuss with stakeholders in the industry concerning the issue.
Being a new aspect of operation, we need to work out details and modalities of how to get it on. We don't believe we have all the know-how to do this, so we're asking all those that are connected with the shipping in our country to discuss with them in a forum such as this, and hopefully we'll come up with ideal methods of going about regulating ports in our country.
In an interactive section at the meeting, the freight forwarders present was represented by Mr. Eugene Nweke, who lamented on the inefficiency of the part of the terminal operators, especially as regards dropping of containers for examination. He then advised that the Nigerian customs should be made to facilitate trade instead of generating revenues. The representative of the Minister of Transport, Alhaji Badamosi Gamboa, a director in the Permanent Secretary Office in the Ministry of Transport, expressed delight at the cooperation by the stakeholders and council and read out the Honorable Minister of Transport, Senator Idris Umar's speech, as he urged all stakeholders present to participate in the discourse with candor in order to yield meaningful results.
I urge all stakeholders here present participate in this discourse. Thank God so that this will not be another gathering that will yield no meaningful results. One practical, workable solutions, these seemingly intractable challenge of the days and certain costs in Nigeria.
The chairman of the board of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Lieutenant General Salihu Ibrahim, GCFR GCON, then went ahead to declare the Nigerian Shippers Council DTI Lagos open for operation.
Formally declare this edifice the direct trader input open.
Nimasa, a sister agency to the Nigerian Shippers Council, also expressed satisfaction at the meeting and promised to cooperate with the council to ensure smooth runnings in the ports. Captain Ezekiel Bala Agaba, Executive Director Maritime Safety and Shipping Development in Nimasa, here speaks to us.
Talking of 48 hours clearance of goods from the port, that is all the stakeholders forum is all about. And then everybody is now bringing out what are the challenges, the interface with customs, infrastructure, are there vehicles to remove the goods, are there facilities to inspect the containers. Those are the issues. And then the new, this pre-arrival inspection report, is it working? What is the interface with CBN, with the banks? So those are the issues they are discussing, so that we'll find out where the hurdles and the obstacles are, and then find a way of removing them.
for you to acquire the status of a national carrier, you must have certain things, including a vessel that have a capacity of 5,000 metric tons or whatever. You have 60% Nigerian participation and so many other things. When you want to register, you don't have these things. Should I flout the law because I want to grow capacity? It's in law. I can be taken on it if I do the contrary. If any Nigerian is interested in getting certain things, like benefiting to get the license, the national carrier license, you should come and fulfill the minimum conditions that are entrenched in our Act. Then we are going to help you. Where we ask you of the vessel, it's not available. We ask this, is not available. The manpower may be not available. How do we grant a national carrier just like that? It's not possible.
Right, and so we come to the end of this week's edition of our show. As always, we hope we kept you educated and informed. Now, please keep those emails coming. Nimasa This Week is an interactive show. All you need to do is send an email to the address currently showing on your screen. Now, I'm going to be here, same time, same station next week. Until then, we're wishing you smooth sailing and bon voyage.